Coming up on this week's show, Ragnarok gets New Game Plus, as well as some new armor sets for Angry Boy Kratos. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is a hit. Jedi Survivor previews indicate a huge improvement over the original. And Street Fighter is getting a new live-action movie. Could we see a cameo from Jean Claude Van Damme? Hello friends and welcome to the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast, the coffee morning show brought to you each week where friends hang out and chat about some of the latest stories going on in the industry. You can follow the show on all of your favourite platforms or watch the video version over on youtube.com/gamertagged. This is episode 101, as many episodes as there are Dalmatians, Sarah. It's wild. It's wild. And joining me for all the bands today is, of course, none other than the voice from beyond. You've heard her in titles like Rollerdrome and Goat Simulator 3. It's the ethereal, the spooky, the immensely talented, the BAFTA freaking winning Sarah Lynham.
Yes! Oh my goodness. How cool is that? How cool is that? Literally like a few episodes ago, it was just BAFTA nominated. I'm like, which is really amazing. Like, I had no, like, kind of, obviously I really, really wanted both of the games that I was in to win something. But there's kind of this thing about just being nominated is fucking huge. And then Rollerdrome just goes and wins. I'm like, I'm in there. I'm in there. Oh my goodness.
I was so happy when I saw it breaking all over Twitter and things like that. I was like, oh my god, now she's going to be totally unbearable. Oh god.
I was. This morning when Ross didn't get my outline color right, I was like, what are we doing? I'm going to go. I'm going to leave. It must be green or else, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I don't know where where are my M&Ms, by the way? Where's my blue M&Ms?
I ate them yesterday.
Oh, no. You bought M&Ms specifically and ate all the blue ones just to spite me.
I did. We went to the cinema on Monday of this week, or last week I should say, and to see John Wick 4, which is freaking amazing. And I bought not one but 2 bags of M&Ms, one peanut, one crispy. And I very purposely and very diligently went through the bag to make sure that I was only getting the blue ones out and leaving all of the other colors, just to spite you.
I mean, like moderately offended. Do you do the thing? I don't know if this is just me, but do you do the thing at the cinema where you buy popcorn and you buy a couple of packets of M&Ms and you dip your M&Ms and you like throw them all into the popcorn so that when you're like pulling out handfuls, it's like a mixture of like chocolatey and popcorny goodness.
That sounds like it's going to be a very chocolatey sticky mess. So no.
No. The whole thing with M&Ms is they don't melt in your hand, they melt in your mouth. That's the whole thing.
Okay. I'll maybe try that. Although this being Easter weekend, so happy Easter first of all, Sarah. Happy Easter. Hope you're having a good one.
Oh, thanks. Likewise.
I was gonna get a Cadbury's cream egg and just drop it in my latte and just have a complete sugared chocolate overload or something like that, like a cream egg coffee float or something.
I'm sad that I didn't even think to do that because I ate 2 cream eggs last night because they're one of my favorite Easter eggs. And so I ate 2 of them last night. But if I just had some self-control and not eaten one of them, I could have put it in my morning coffee for today. I would have been absolutely buzzing, absolutely flying.
Or I've just actually had a brainwave. So when you go to an Italian restaurant, and you can order an affogato, which, for anybody who doesn't know, is a scoop of ice cream, usually vanilla ice cream, and a shot of espresso, which you pour over the top, and then you have that as a dessert. What about a Cadbury's cream egg, just in a little dish, and then you just pour the espresso over the cream egg, and you have that as like a extra little dessert thing?
I don't want to drool in the booth, Ross. I don't.
With ice cream as well, or would that be too much? That'd be overkill?
Look, at the point that you're deciding whether or not adding coffee and cream egg together is this too much, you may as well go all in. Like, I just think, you just gotta lock it in at that point. You gotta be like, look, I've made some choices in my life, and these choices include coffee, cream, egg, and ice cream today. So
yeah. This is the adulting that I grew up hoping and aspiring to be. Yeah.
Exactly. I endorse this decision if anyone wants to do it. And there's still a whole Easter weekend, so I'll try and do it at some point, and I will let you know how that goes.
Absolutely. So happy Easter, everybody. This is, of course, our some kind of Easter episode, but kind of not really. We've got a great show lined up for you. Topics are... Well, we've got God of War Ragnarok news. The New Game Plus just launched. We'll probably talk a little bit about that. Super Mario Brothers movie, that one with Chris Pratt that we talked a little bit about on several previous episodes, is getting some really good reviews. So we'll probably talk a little bit about that. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is only a couple of weeks away and is getting a lot of really positive previews that are dropping. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. And Street Fighter is getting a new live action movie. It's officially happening, apparently. So we've got to talk a little bit about that. And maybe as part of that topic, we may even talk a little bit about what games or franchises would we like to see possibly get the live action treatment, because obviously on the strength of the Last of Us HBO show doing absolutely gangbuster numbers and praise and everything like that, I'm on the penultimate episode. I've watched the penultimate episode. I've got the finale still to go. Sarah's seen it all, of course. We talked about it previously. But also, Jack Black came out saying he would love a Red Dead Redemption treatment adaptation in the vein, the quality bar of the Last of Us show. So it gets you thinking as to what else could be done, that would warrant and merit that. So since I'm already kind of rambling on this topic, we'll just start with the Street Fighter the Street Fighter topic, and of course what we'd like to see. So news coming from GameSpot: a new live-action Street Fighter movie is coming via Legendary Entertainment, the company behind Detective Pikachu and the Warcraft movie. So actually a really good pedigree there. And I know what people say. I really liked the Warcraft movie. I thought it was actually really, really well done, and I would have loved to have seen a sequel, but Detective Pikachu is absolutely marvelous. Even if you're not a Pokemon fan, which I am not really, but I adored that Detective Pikachu film. So Capcom have confirmed the news following a report from The Hollywood Reporter. Alongside the film company, Capcom will be co-producing the movie. No further information has been given at that point, but of course that doesn't stop the internet from going nuts with fan casting choices, and of course the resurgence of numbers looking at the classic, the OG, the Jean Claude Van Damme, the Kylie Minogue, the Raul Julia as Bison movie of, when was it, 90 something? Oh,
97 or something.
97 or something, was it? Oh my
No,
goodness.
94. I'm getting confused because 87 is when the game came out.
Oh yeah, okay, so 1994. Yeah, wow. It makes me want to go back and watch that absolute train wreck of an adaptation, which is kind of good because it's so catastrophically bad.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I remember watching that film for the first time, and it was right in the peak, for me anyway, of being obsessed with that kind of game. And so having played loads of Street Fighter and then getting to go watch a film about it was just it's like every kid's dream, really. And I think also because I was a kid, I was kind of looking at it going, well, this is great. This is just these characters brought to life. So I'm not even remotely upset by it. Whereas I know that if I were to go back and watch it now, I'd be like, this is trash. But I love it. It's such good trash. I want to roll around in this trash. It's amazing. Yeah, it's like a guilty pleasure saying that you like it. But also I think that most people from our generation probably did watch it initially and think that it was incredible. And also Jean Claude Van Damme as Guile, what an absolute insanely crazy perfect casting, actually. I think it's iconic, and he was in his prime at that point as well. So yeah, I bet action movie stars would have crossed over into the gaming side of things as well for a little bit, which would have been very cool. Yeah, I love it. I really go watch it again. I don't know where I could watch it these days. Probably on one of the streaming sites somewhere, but absolutely I want
Probably.
to see it.
I know. It's because they were obviously too afraid to go full cartoon look with Guile and Jean Claude Van Damme, but they did give him the height of the hair, but it wasn't the full kind of like cone kind of thing like what he has in the video games. It makes me think: are they gonna go for a bit more grounded approach with this one, or are they gonna go super true to the original look of the characters and just go absolutely mental with like so over the top, ultra camp? Not that the first movie was not ultra camp, because it certainly was, but it makes me wonder like who's the casting going to be? Are they going to have fun with it, or are they going to try and play it straight? Whereas I feel like Mortal Kombat had a little bit of a revival with a pretty damn decent movie. Just what was it, 2021 or something? That movie came out. I can't remember now, and it was actually really quite well done. And I think that just lends itself a bit more to being grounded, a bit more serious, because it is the visceral, ultra violent, almost kind of like photorealistic style of game rather than a comic booky look to what Street Fighter always had. So it makes me wonder like what direction they're going to go in with it, and why live action? Why not make another amazing animated film? Like, and it makes you think like what IPs would actually be better suited to animation rather than live action. And it got me thinking. Things like Legend of Zelda, for example, I don't know if that would really translate well without being deeply disturbing or strange as live action. I guess it could work, like this old elf boy live action. Is that going to be like disturbing? But then saying that, when we started seeing these photorealistic renders of Pokemon ahead of the Detective Pikachu movie, they looked extremely disturbing. But in the movie, it kind of works. So I
and
don't know.
also with the Sonic the Hedgehog ones as well, like the initial like images of Sonic were terrifying. It was like, no, I don't want to watch a horror movie about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Nightmare fuel. Yeah.
I want it to, I want it to have a, I think animated, it's really tough, isn't it? I don't think I'd want to see an animated version of anything from the Zelda universe. Like, I think it would be weird. I think it could, I mean, I don't know, it could work, but I can't imagine it. Whereas I feel like now that I've seen things like Street Fighter, where the kind of characters are, they're still kind of humanoid, right? Whereas I feel like in the Zelda ones, it's slightly more like it has more of a cartoony vibe to it. Whereas I feel like things like any of the fighting games, rather Street Fighter, Tekken, anything like that, it's all quite sort of realistic to, you know, the actual, like the figures in the game are realistic, which is why I think something like Red Dead, amazing call by Jack Black. I think that would be so good. I think Ghost of Tsushima, I would absolutely watch a live action of that. That would be insane.
That's happening. That is happening.
Is it?
Yeah. The director of John Wick, Chad Stahelski, is doing Ghost of Tsushima. Yeah. It's confirmed.
Oh, what
That's
a great
amazing.
call as well.
I
oh
know.
My God.
Apparently he wants to really go to town with the color palette to do that game justice as well. So you can imagine how good the cinematography is in the game already, with the cherry blossoms and the color biomes of the regions of that world. Like it's very bright all yellow, or very bright reds in one bit, or just greens for forest area and snow areas. You can imagine him just going crazy with the cinematography in that game, and that's hugely exciting. But not much is, I think, known outside of like director of John Wick is doing a Ghost of Tsushima game, and that's kind of everybody. That's all we need to know to get super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm involved. That sounds amazing. And yet I still haven't seen any John Wick. I'm so sorry. I need to remedy this. You chastised me last time I mentioned it, and I haven't gone anywhere near like trying to solve it. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know that's going to be good. And I'm just trying to think what else would be good. I think anything that has a really strong story element to it, like it could be really interesting to see maybe something like Life is Strange or something in the Life is Strange universe, because again,
Yeah.
the whole idea is that it's storytelling, but then an individual has like magic powers. Although I guess like maybe that might be a little bit overdone at the moment in terms of, we've got loads of Marvel, we've got loads of um, people that have superpowers. Maybe we just need to go back to good old fashioned storytelling, and maybe that's why The Last of Us is so good. Because even
Yeah.
though there's zombies in it, it's not really about the infected. It's about the story of Joel and Ellie. So,
100%. Yeah. I would love to see a whether it's a TV show or a movie, I'm not sure, but I'd love to see a horror take on Metroid, like a Nintendo franchise, because
ooh,
I think Samus Aran is such a really interesting character, which I'd love to see really explored in whether it's an animation, but I'd love it to be live action, like a mega budget live action where it's our power suit. She has this power suit, and it's just exploring the lore and the world of the Metroids, and just seeing those games come, especially with the resurgence of remastered, just hitting them, just hitting the Switch again
mm.
ahead of Metroid Prime 4, which is hopefully going to be coming out probably next year, but who knows at this point. I'd love to see that get live action. I think it would work really, really well. And it's funny you mentioned we were talking about Legend of Zelda being, could it work live action or could it not? Whenever I think of a live action Legend of Zelda game, I always think of the movie from, when was it? I think it was late 80s, starring Tom Cruise. It's directed by Ridley Scott, called Legend, where he plays an elf boy. And Tim Curry plays the Prince of Darkness, basically the devil, right? And it is so camp and so just ridiculous, but I love it. I absolutely love that movie, but it's so like just strange, and it's like a fantasy film, and he's a little pixie elf boy, and but Tim Curry steals the show. I'll send you some pictures after the fact of just how
Mm-hmm.
amazing, because Tim Curry hams it up like you would not believe. He's phenomenal. He's this like 8 foot tall, cloven hoofed, huge horns like you would not believe, and he's all red, and I assume, well, mind you, back then he was pretty in great shape. He just looks like unbelievably jacked as well as the devil or the Prince of Darkness. It's fucking good. It's well worth just digging out a copy and just checking out, because it's fun. Anyway, getting so far off track, it's
That
got
sounds
nothing to do.
absolutely
Yeah.
insane. And I was like, Tom Cruise, no. And then you said Tim Curry. I was like, okay, yes, I don't care.
Yeah. So
Let's do it.
It makes no sense because it's got nothing to do with The Legend of Zelda. But for some reason, I think Tim Curry, Prince of Darkness, Ganondorf, of course. Amazing casting. It'd be so good.
That would be good.
I digress. So getting way off track here. But yeah, there's so many potential ones that could be amazing. And yeah, I'd love to see Red Dead. I think the void that was left by great Western shows that we used to get, like Deadwood, has left a massive void and a hankering. I mean, I was having this debate online and into the Twitter void. I don't know why I do this, but sometimes it's fun to ruffle feathers and get into it with randos. But like Westworld, for example, like certainly season 1, people talk shit about this show all the time. But honestly, I think the first two to maybe 3 seasons were actually really, really good. But season 1 is such a masterpiece of perfection. And that, because it's mostly set in this fictional Western world, it showed of the desire that viewers want a Western TV show style
Mhm.
again, like really well, highly produced, highly written, or well written, I should say, and a Red Dead
Mm,
drama would be
mm.
fucking good, like so good if it's charting like the 2 games.
Yes.
And Arthur Morgan and James Marsden and the whole gang of outlaws and everything, it could be so good. Like,
Yeah.
I'd
Would
love a
you
resurgence of the Western genre for sure.
Absolutely. That would be amazing. With the Red Dead, if they were to do the games as a TV show, for example, because I think
Yeah.
that's how you do it. I wouldn't want a film. I'd want a really strong like TV show. But would you want it chronological? Would you want it from Arthur Morgan first, or would you want
Ooh.
to do it in the release order of the games? What do you think?
I I wouldn't be against chronological, just very kind of linear progression, but the format of television can be so powerfully experimental that if they're messing around with the timelines, could be really cool as well, because then the viewer doesn't necessarily know where this thing that happens fits into this other main story arc and things like that. So I'd be up for the show runners just mixing it up, experimenting with it, and really kind of keeping the viewer on their toes as to, wait, when did this happen? Oh, and then it like comes full circle and it's like, oh, that leads to that. Okay, and it gives the hardcore fans of the game something to not expect, and it keeps them like super
Mm.
interested as well. So
Yep, love
yeah,
that.
like it's such a rich genre, like the Western genre. I love it. I love Westerns and like spaghetti Western, Sergio Leone and Clint Eastwood and all of that stuff. And of course, that's the inspiration for the games. And for it to come full circle back to cinema or television would be quite poignant and fitting. I think it'd be marvelous.
Mm. Yeah, I'd love that. I'd be all over that. Yep. Make it
Give
happen,
us it.
Hollywood. We're ready.
Give us it. Give us it. That'd be so good. Okay. God of War Ragnarok gets a new Game Plus mode out today. I thought this was already out. I didn't realize it was still in the works, waiting to be done. But here we are. It's out today, so you can have another run. I desperately, desperately need to do another run. I left so much to do on the table of that game because I just marathoned, not even marathon, like I was like a power sprint from beginning to end, just the main story, because I was so captivated by it, and I never went back to any of the side stuff, and I really do need to. But this is really cool because it adds not just obviously the new Game Plus mode, it adds in new equipment, new armor sets, new weapon sets, and I like that they've actually got a Spartan armor set, which is classic Kratos, Greek mythology Kratos, with like bare chested, just ripped and tearing things apart kind of look from the OG games. What I didn't expect though is, whilst you wear that particular armor set, it's a level 1 armor set, and you don't get any perks, you can't upgrade it. It gives you nothing. So that's like the ultimate hardcore angry boy armor set to just go through the game. What?
I for one will like wear that armor set for a moment, give it a little go, and then probably be like, nah. I really like
Yeah.
having really super strong armor. It's
You
probably
need your
okay in the
buffs,
early
yeah.
game, but oh my god, I think later on I'd just be like, no. I love
Yeah.
that game, and I platinumed the last one, and I'm still working on the platinum for Ragnarok, but I didn't do it through keeping myself like down on a few notches, or like every notch in this case. Like I made sure I had the best armor and had upgraded everything to full before I got to the very end. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's such a cool like a little homage to the original games, and I think it's a great little thing to add into there. But I'll be getting it for the cosmetic value, and then be like, okay, that's cool. Back into the full armor, please.
I know. Although I do love that they finally added the wolfskin cape that Kratos wears in the opening menu screen, actually, and then very promptly loses as the game actually starts, and you never get it again. So I remember seeing online, one of the developers said, "We hear you. We heard what you said about the wolf cape." And you can now get that armor set and wear that armor set, which is going to be fucking so cool. So I'm probably gonna chase that out at some point and wear that
Yeah.
throughout it, because it makes sense to have like bear skin or wolf skin armor set for Thimblewinter and stuff.
Yeah,
Looks so cool.
absolutely. It would be cool, and not to kind of bring back too much of the Red Dead stuff, but like the way you have to sort of change your outfit depending on the climate. Like you can't be wearing a big woolen thing, and when you're when you're in the hotter areas, hotter realms, because you're just gonna melt. And if there was some sort of, no, I don't want to give them ideas, but like, don't give me a disadvantage because I'm wearing my wolf pelt, my bear pelt, my whatever. Kratos must drink water now. You cannot play the game.
Oh no. Don't give them a survival mechanic for God's sake, sir.
No. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
What's interesting as well is there's actually a new black and white render mode to give it a more cinematic playthrough feel, which is interesting. I wonder how that would work, because it worked incredibly well with Ghost of Tsushima because it was a Kurosawa mode that made sense. That was one of the main motivators for that video game, the main influences. But a black and white mode for this game, I don't know how. It might look really, really cool. If it's like a Logan type of rendering, like a noir look to everything, it'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it would be I don't know if I'd do a full playthrough in it. I certainly, I'll be doing this 100%. As we know, I kind of like this game. It's kind of cool, I suppose. I might be a super fan, but like I would play it to see what it feels like. But in my head, I'm thinking, I like the way that the world looks now. I think it's already really cinematic. So I'm not really sure what. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what it will bring out and whether or not it will make a difference to the way the game looks and feels. I'm sure it will to an extent, but I still think that the way that the game is presented already has everything that I want. Yeah. It's quite nice to have these little extras every now and again. It's similar to, adding this classic Spartan armor set. Like, that's cool. But I'll probably just put it on for a couple seconds to look at it and then be like, all right, anyway, that was cool. That was a nice little sojourn sideways to just see what that looks like.
The black and white mode is going to be interesting because in Ghost of Tsushima, with that Kurosawa mode, which is black and white mode, it has gameplay implications because you rely so heavily on color in that game. And specifically, there's a mission where you're looking for a particular color of plant that will have... It makes the mission impossible to solve because it's black and white, so you can't find the plant. So it's a bit strange. And I wonder if there's anything like that. I'm trying to remember back if there's anything color specific in God of War where if you're playing in black and white mode, it's kind of pointless, right?
Maybe not necessarily for like picking up items, because they're quite good at sort of like giving you a little flash, like a little light, so like a little twinkle where something is. But if you're trying to pick up either either your life stones or your rage stones, essentially, you probably won't be able to tell the difference because those look the same. They're like a little ball on the ground with a big stroke of light like into the air, and it's either green or it's red. So I don't actually need that bar is full, or I actually need that one, I'm going to grab this one. So if you're in the middle of a fight with one of the gravestone big bads, you'd be you might get a little bit annoyed if you're not picking up what you actually want while you're in the middle of the game. So maybe it would actually disadvantage as opposed to be a good thing. It might look pretty. But
a really clever UI change for that mode would be to give them icons rather than colors, to work a way to work around the user feedback. The player information that they need to not randomly pick up a health thing when they really wanted the rage thing. As opposed to purely relying on color, which has now been removed from the game. So interesting. Be good to try out though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Super Mario Bros. The movie. Every time they drop a trailer for this, it looks amazing. And I know Mr. Pratt is getting lots of hate and things like that, but apparently the movie has been really well received, pretty much across the board. There's always going to be some critics and fans that are like, meh, it's not challenging enough. It's super safe. It's just an advert for Nintendo. Hey, you know what? That means that kids are going to fucking love it. And that's what it's for. It's for children. It's not for the 40, 50-year-old children like myself. But although it kind of is, it's more for kids that see it and are like, oh my God, mommy, daddy, I want to go see Mario in the cinema. And then we'll get more of these things. But even if it is an extended advert for everything Nintendo, that's cool. I'm all for that. And I'm hugely excited to go see this. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see it. Marcus is still too young to take it to the cinema, really. So it's going to have to be a home rental, probably. But it looks amazing. And I was seeing pictures from the premiere, and Jack Black had the most amazing suit on. He actually had like a hexagonal turtle shell print on the back of his suit, and it just looked so good. He was so into this. And I love that. I absolutely love that.
There was this really cute interview that I saw that he did. So there was a young kid who was doing red carpet interviews, and Jack Black comes over and talks to him, and it's all really, really adorable. But there's one there's a moment where he says something about how, like, exactly what you're saying. Obviously, it's a great film for kids, but there's going to be all these amazing Easter eggs throughout it, where anyone who's played any of the games, Mario Kart or any of the, the N64 version, like anything like that, they're going to have all these really nice little moments of, oh, I know that character. Oh, I know where they are. Oh, this is like nostalgic. And that's what I'm mostly excited for, because I know that it's going to be like, the storyline's going to be real simple. It's going to be, but maybe not save the princess, but maybe save the world from Bowser. And it'll be very kind of like, yes, that's fine. We do this, we struggle a bit, we recoup, we go back, and we win the day, and it'll be fine. Like, it'll be very quaint, I think. But it'll be those moments where you go, oh yeah, I remember, trying not to die on Rainbow Road. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Stuff like that. I think it's going to be really cool. I still haven't seen it, but also I went to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie yesterday, but there were so many people. Yeah, it's amazing. I'll tell you about that in a second. Okay. But like, there were so many people going to see Super Mario, but it was all families and kids and their parents, and you could tell that it wasn't just the kids excited. It was the whole family were excited to go see that film. So yeah, but it's half term at the moment, so it makes sense that there'll be loads of kids out watching films. So I'm probably going to wait until it's not half term anymore, and I can go in the middle of the day when there's not lots of little sprogs running about. But yeah, I really want to go see it. But the Dungeons and Dragons movie is very good. Yeah. I don't know if I mean, obviously this is a segue because we were meant to be talking about Super Mario, but it's really good. I would absolutely recommend it. I think it's one of these things where I was a bit worried as a massive D&D fan, and I play a lot of D&D, that it would be Hollywood trying to go, let's make a quick buck off this like thing that's really big at the moment.
Yeah.
But actually, it feels like what they've done is a really beautiful combination of stuff that makes sense for people who haven't played D&D. So they feel like they're just watching a really cool fantasy film, which has these great little moments of comedy in it. And the people who do play D&D will notice, oh yeah, that was definitely a critical success that they've just had. That was a critical fail. That was this spell. That was that spell. And then there's one magical item that's really key to the story that didn't exist in the D&D universe, but now does. So now that's an official item that you can actually get in the game. So I thought that was really interesting. And I think the performances are really good too. Like, the characters they've chosen, and the fact that all the players, they played D&D before they actually filmed, means they have an idea about how it all works, and the level of improv versus the randomization of having to roll to see if you can succeed at something, I think is really well managed in the film without being like, oh ho ho, I use this and I do that and I'm playing D&D. Like, it's really clever. I would absolutely recommend it, regardless of if you play D&D or not.
I've seen trailers, and at first when it was first shown off, I wasn't sure if it was going to be just really bad or if it's actually going to be pretty cool. Then the more I was seeing of it and the more I was hearing of it, I thought, oh, they're actually doing it really, really well. Because to your point, what you made earlier, I think Hollywood has done the cash-in of D&D with lots of movies in the past that are just straight up really bad, almost straight to video fare. And I think they've learned their lesson, I'd like to hope. And this one is done right. It seems that way anyway, and because I know Michelle Rodriguez and Chris Pine are big D&D fans, so I think they were probably policing the production to a degree as well to make sure it was doing justice to it rather than being like super flippant and derogatory of it. And I love that Hugh Grant's in it as well. I don't think he's a big D&D fan, but apparently I think they tried to get him to play D&D, and I think he was just like, nah. It's like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
His character is great. Like, he does such an amazing job of being kind of like foppish and like quintessentially British, but also being quite horrible as well. Like, it's a really cool character for him, and a character that I haven't really seen him that I've seen a few things with Hugh Grant in it, and I haven't really seen him play in that style, but I think it's really good. And I was so skeptical because I think maybe they just didn't pitch it very well, because I feel like the trailers came off as real like cheesy and a bit like, oh, this looks a bit naff, doesn't it? To the point where I was almost like putting my foot down and saying, I'm not going to watch this in the cinema. But then quite a few of my D&D friends had gone to see it and said, actually, it's good. And I went, oh, okay, maybe I'll go see it then. And I totally agree. I think maybe the whole like underselling was a technique so that they knew that like that nerds would still go and see it. And then they'd be like, actually, no, it's good. Go and see it. It's good.
Yeah. Get the nerds to champion your production for you, do the marketing for you. If they've bought into it, you know it's going to be well received then.
Exactly.
And there's a chunky boy dragon in it, which I saw from one of the clips, which looks super cool. Oh my god! Yeah, there's so much to watch, and I really, really do want to watch it, but I have no time to go to the cinemas anymore. Sarah, it's not fair. I have to wait for a video for home rental, I should say, and rent it.
At least the transition time these days is nowhere near as long as it used to be, right? Like something could be in the cinema now, and be before the end of the year, you'll be able to watch Super Mario, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I was surprised. I was looking through my Apple TV movies just last night, and I was actually shocked that a lot of the movies that I either have maybe just stopped being in the cinema or are actually still in the cinema are now available to buy at home already. Like Creed 3 is still in the cinema, but you can buy it right now. Yeah, you can buy it right now. The Whale with Brendan Fraser is out to buy right now. There's a few others as well. So I was really surprised at how fast they came to digital. And I love that. I there's some movies that I still love to go see and for the cinema experience. But a lot of the time it's like, okay, as soon as I've seen it in the cinema, I immediately want to be able to buy it and own it and then get it at home and then watch it as much as possible. If only there was a way to like submit your ticket to somewhere and then you're then eligible to buy the movie. Like you get early access because you purchased a cinema ticket. So you can prove somehow that I went to see in the cinema, therefore give me it at home now. I'm now eligible or something like that would be so cool. But
yeah, absolutely. Give me that early access and let me watch this film over and over and over again so I can be like, now I know everything about it.
Exactly. Which meaning I need to watch Avatar: Way of Water again because I've got that on digital now. After seeing that in the cinema, but here's the thing: movies are getting too long. Avatar's over 3 hours long. John Wick was over 3 hours long. Why are movies getting so long? What's going on?
I remember the good old days where it was an hour and a half tops. Like
I know. Action movies used to be like 90 minutes and then you're done. It's like, why do I mean, it is amazing seeing John Wick kill people with pencils and all these kung fu moves and ninjutsu moves and stuff like that for 3 hours, but still, it's 3 hours out of your day. Actually, closer to 4 hours with adverts and trailers. Anyway, oh my God, I could old man rant like crazy.
They should do what they do at the theater, right? There should be like an intermission. Actually, this might sound weird, but I'm so sure that back in the day there used to be an intermission in cinemas as well. Am I making that up?
No, for really long films there was intermissions, yeah. And but I'm trying to remember the last one because I don't even think The Lord of the Rings had intermissions for them. So
no, but I think that sort of paved paved the way for the longer films. So it almost allowed them. It's like, yeah, you can totally make 3-hour-long ones now if you want. We've done it, and we've been really successful. And so everyone's like, okay, great, let's do that. I don't know. Do they make more money if the films are longer? Surely it's more expensive. Surely.
Well, yeah, because you have less showings per day. Surely, less adverts to run because they don't run advert breaks during the movie. So.
Oh yeah! Thank God they don't. If you got like sort of 15 minutes in, you click the little skip button in the corner. Like, no, I don't want your advert.
yeah. Subscribe to the premium account of your cinema, and you can get ad-free movies. Woo!
Oh no!
Anyway, this was our segment on Super Mario Brothers, the movie. I hope you enjoyed listening to it.
Flip-flop all over the place.
Total tangent. Anyway, next up is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It is coming out on April 28th. This was following a delay just a few weeks ago because it was originally supposed to come out in March. And even though it got delayed a month, I'm still super caught by surprise that it's almost out. It's almost out in just like 3 weeks' time, a couple weeks' time. So all sorts of previews and things are dropping. Game Informer has a really good, I think it's like an exclusive deep dive on it. And from everything that I'm seeing and reading, this looks like an amazing sequel that they have really taken to heart a lot of the criticisms from the first game. Now, as good as as excellent actually as the first game is, there was a little bit of janky roughness to everything. Like, the story was excellent. The presentation, for the most part, across the board was so high quality, and they really nailed that Star Wars feel. And I'm replaying it again and thinking, God, this is amazing. It's so good to have a really high quality single player Star Wars project again. But then there are times where the combat isn't quite tight enough. The platforming isn't quite tight enough. It's super frustrating at times. And you're thinking, oh yeah, that's why it probably didn't maybe do as well as it really could have been. And as frustrating as it is, I love it because it's Star Wars. And it does so many amazing, cool things, because up until that point, the Force Unleashed games and other Star Wars games were a bit more arcadey, and that was fine. It was like Force Unleashed was much more of a Devil May Cry style of like combat, combo focused and super acrobatic and ultra powerful, whereas that Jedi Fallen Order was far more Souls-like, a bit more considered. And I'm on the fence about whether that was the right approach. But what I will say is, when you're actually in a 1v1 fight, it does an incredible job of making you feel like you're doing a proper lightsaber duel with your enemy. It gets a bit messy and a little bit frustrating when there's like multiple enemies all coming at you and things like that. But it's immensely enjoyable and unbelievably slick when you're parrying and you're dueling and you're getting into these really intense lightsaber duels. And when you parry a blaster fire back at a stormtrooper and it pings and kills them, that is just fucking amazing. And there's loads of little touches which are just chef's kiss amazing. But then there are things where I'm getting like so frustrated that it feels clunky. It doesn't feel as tight as like a FromSoft game, and that's what I'm used to. And anyway, it's like splitting hairs and really getting into the minutia of nitpicking. But it feels like for Jedi Survivor, they've really honed a lot of the mechanics, a lot of the problems that were surfaced with the first game, and they're expanding the kind of the world hub environments and things like that. And honestly, the presentation just looks off the charts good for Cal Kestis's part 2 of his story, and I am super excited for this, and I want to get your thoughts on your hype levels.
Yeah, super hyped for this. I actually haven't finished the first one, so I really need to make sure I go back and do that. However, I have been spoiled as to how it ends, only because Connor was playing it at the time, and I was like, this looks cool, I want to watch, and then went, oh my god, he's like, yeah, this is the end. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh well, I'll try and forget that. I haven't forgotten it.
Oh.
It's fine. It's fine. And then when I agree with you in terms of like the slickness of some of the combat stuff and some of the platforming. I think that was something that frustrated me, but because I really love Soulsborne style games, that was what really like pulled me in anyway. So like I enjoyed. I enjoy the challenge of having to like learn where you're going, learn who you're going to encounter, and be skilled enough to make sure if you want to go that way again, you need to kill this guy, this guy, this guy, or book it past this guy, this guy, and this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of those beautiful moments where they really make you feel like a Jedi when you're deflecting the blaster fire like that. When you could do that, I was like, I'm just going to do this every single time. Like, why wouldn't I do this every single time? I feel like an absolute badass. So, and it seems like you say, reading this article from Game Informer, I sort of skim read it because I don't want to have too many spoilers for the game itself, even though it only sort of talks about the beginning. But I wanted to sort of get an idea about how the devs are feeling because they gave this implication that they were really nervous putting this game out in the first place, despite obviously having the backing of all of the Star Wars team, because otherwise how would you have this game in the first place?
Yeah.
But they seemed really like, oh my god, like there's so many elements that we wanted to bring into this game and bring it all together and make it what it is, and yet they felt like they were only just able to kind of get it out into the world. And I hope that because they're taking this extra time to make sure that they're not releasing it too early, and having learned everything that they would have learned from the first game, I'm really, really, really excited to see what this one's going to be like, because the first one, despite its flaws, was still like really, really good. And I think that's a sign of that the fact that you and I are like sort of nitpicking and going, oh well, this wasn't quite good, this wasn't quite good. I think that's a sign of like really wanting something to be good, because the rest of it is amazing, and we just want like, we always want the perfect game, but I feel like you only really pick holes in something when you're like, it's because I love it. It's because I love these parts of it, and I want these devs to embellish and grow and make the perfect game next time. And I have high hopes for this. It's going to be awesome. And the story of Cal Kestis is really fun as well. Like I love how that ties into the Star Wars universe, as I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm watching all the TV shows, and I want to rewatch some of the really good films and stuff as well. Like I think it's really cool. And some of what I really love about the universe at the moment is that we're seeing more of the non-Jedi stuff. So it's fun to play a Jedi, absolutely, and you feel like the badass. But I feel like the world is so much richer because we have all these stories of the non-Jedi and everybody else that exists within this world. And In summary, yes, absolutely, I'm super, super psyched for this, and I really hope that it is a nice, shiny version of what we had before, because that'd be incredible. And I'm more than happy to wait. I agree with what you say. And I feel like maybe because it felt like from the moment it was announced, it felt like there wasn't actually that much time to wait. It was almost as if they'd strategically waited to make sure that they didn't launch too early, and we sort of, got excited too soon. And then that dwindled. Like I think as a result of having it seemingly anyway, quite close together, it's felt like waiting another month. Is it a month and a bit? Not sure.
Yeah.
Then,
I think
it doesn't feel as hard to wait that long.
I think it's worked out very much in their favor because it's been pushed out to the end of the month. They're now doing a big thing at Star Wars Celebration, which is happening right now. So there's a new trailer coming on. I think it's the 19th of April, ahead of the final trailer ahead of the game's launch. But they can mention it and start promoting it at Star Wars Celebration, which there's a ton of information coming out for that on the TV side and the movie side. But now they can talk about the gaming side as well. Whereas had it originally hit its March deadline, the game would have already been out. They may have referenced it and things like that, but there's no like big hype build up to maybe talk about it. Whereas now there is, and they've got that stage of Star Wars Celebration, which is a huge event for the calendar, to then get eyes on this big Star Wars game which is coming out. Because as you said about the first game, we were nitpicking so much because we so badly wanted this to be an amazing game, because how many single player Star Wars game projects had been cancelled up until that point, which looked amazing, that we'd heard about. We had Project Ragtag with Amy Hennig, which we were super excited for. It got like a huge E3 presentation behind the scenes, I remember, and it looked like it could have been fucking amazing. We had Star Wars 1313, which was a bounty hunter project, which looked amazing, which got cancelled. And then we finally got Jedi Fallen Order, and it was by Respawn, and we're thinking, okay, thank God EA are finally letting the Star Wars franchise be explored in proper single-player games. And we got this, and God, did so much so well, but then there was so much, it was just like, not quite landed. It doesn't quite feel good. And when I was playing it again, which I'm still going through it, I was feeling like, what? It feels like it's almost at times over animated, which sounds like a stupid thing to say, but there's things where I was blocking and then I wanted to immediately attack. Like in a FromSoft game, that feels instant. Whereas in this, he's blocking, but then there's like a delay between, it's almost like input lag or something. And then he does this big wind up to swing his lightsaber. And within that moment, I got hit by a fucking stormtrooper, like who just battered me with his blaster. I thought, oh my God, why can't you just be a bit tighter and a bit faster? It's stupid to complain about, but it's things like that. I'm like, it's just a little bit irky. And I'm hoping that in this game, and I think they will, they've just made everything tighter, everything faster, everything just more Star Wars. And some of the gameplay footage I saw had like the prequel droids, like the blaster droids and everything in it. I'm thinking, fuck yes, here we go, it's Star Wars, baby. And it just looks like it's such a throwback, but also pushing the narrative kind of forward, because this is it's post Order 66, but it's pre episode 4, I think. Is that where it kind of fits within the timeline? So
yeah, that sounds right to me. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where does the Mandalorian fit into this? Is that post Jedi or is that I'm trying, I honestly can't remember now.
Oh no,
because I can't remember either. My
I'm going to be completely honest and say that sometimes that side of it, like working out where it sits in the timeline, is one of the hardest things for me. And also because I watch things simultaneously. So I'll be watching The Mandalorian and I'm watching Bad Batch, and they're not exactly in the same, like, that chronologically, they're certainly not at the same time. So I'll be thinking, but that happens in no way. And then I was like, will we encounter anyone from Rebels because we're in this time zone? And Connor's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah,
and
I think Mandalorian
love that there's a lot,
is before the sequels, like Rey and Finn and that, like episode 7, 8, 9. So post Jedi, pre episode 7, but it's but this is just like a little bit after, a few years after Order 66 and the fall of the Jedi Order and things like that. So sadly, I don't think we're going to see a Mandalorian appearance in the Cal Kestis storyline, but that would have been so awesome he just like Cal just walks into a cantina and the fucking Mandalorian's in the back there or something. That would have been amazing. But I don't think that's possible, sadly.
No, but I think at any moment, I think that's what's great about the Star Wars universe, though, when you start to see little pieces from something show up in something else, like even if it's as simple as seeing a droid that you've recognized from something else, like when they started having what's his name? Is it BD-8? Is it BD-8 from the game?
BB-8 from the game. I can't remember the droid's name.
BD something.
BD.
So,
okay,
yeah. So when BD like shows up, or you see that type of droid in the TV show, then you're suddenly like, oh yeah, this is great. Like we all know that they're all connected, but like it feels seamless when they do stuff like that. And when you hear talk about a character that you know from something else, I mean, obviously, Jedis have a through line in terms of their story, but when you start hearing references to things throughout, because the universe is so vast and yet so small, because we always get these moments of connectivity between all the elements of the story, I just think it's really well crafted. And obviously most of that is George Lucas, but actually probably more so Dave Filoni these days, like because he's an icon basically, and a super uber nerd for Star Wars, which is great. That's what we need. That's what we need behind all of these projects.
Did you see the trailer for Ahsoka TV show? Oh my fucking God, it looks so good. It's like
incredible.
Rebels live action. Here we go. And Thrawn is going to make it. Oh my God. Like I'm listening to the audiobook Thrawn, and it is so good. And I know you have just recently done an audiobook recording, so you know the process.
Yes.
And I got to admit, the acting and the voice acting for the actor who plays Thrawn is so good. Like the production of this audiobook is so top tier. They've got, like, some audiobooks are literally just a narration with a little bit of accent stuff coming in for some of the characters, but it's not acted as such. You know, it's more kind of telling you a story, very, very well delivery, but it's not always like acted out like a radio play or something like that. But this one has like sound effects. It's got like the doors opening and things like that. And you've got the sound of the TIE fighters and things at times. And the actor of Thrawn is, oh my God, it's so, so good. So because I haven't seen Rebels, my only introduction to Thrawn is this audiobook. And now I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this guy. Who is this amazing character? And why have we never seen this character in any other stuff? But obviously it's part of Rebels, and now it's going to be live action, and fucking hell, I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I would absolutely recommend Rebels. Like initially I didn't want to watch it because I was like, I've watched a lot of the animated stuff. Like the Clone Wars stuff was a bit of a slog to start with. It just felt like, oh, there's a new problem. Let's kill everyone and save the planet. And it felt like that over and over and over and over. Right, and then suddenly you had a really nice through line happening, and you actually saw like development of the characters like Ahsoka. And we did this thing where I had never seen the third as in the prequel third film, so I hadn't seen it. And you can actually do a version where you watch the film in sequence with some of the Clone Wars episodes sort of interspersed in it, and you get a proper timeline, and that was amazing to do. And I would 100% recommend that, regardless of if you've seen the film in its entirety anyway. But it just makes Anakin's journey much more kind of it's just kind of embellished, and it makes more sense. It feels less abrupt. But yeah, Rebels, I digress. Rebels is amazing, and Thrawn is terrifying. Such an amazing villain, and I'm so excited for Ahsoka as a result. And yeah, however much of Rebels, the Rebels that we get in it, very, very cool. It's going to be amazing. Yay, Star Wars.
Yay, Star Wars, 100%. Oh my God. What a time to be a Star Wars fan. We've got amazing content coming out. We've got amazing animations, amazing movies coming out. We've got the TV stuff, and of course, Jedi Survivor, which is coming out at the end of this month. You better believe I've got it pre-ordered, and I cannot wait for those lightsaber haptics coming through my DualSense controller.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I just can't wait. So, God, is that a very tight wrap on our episodes here? I think it might be. Whew, it's like, sadly, we missed Jamie very much so. He's not feeling well this week, so we managed to deviate a lot of tangents, which takes us up to like 90 minutes, and now we've got it under the hour because we just had a really fun few tangents, but not every topic has to be a tangent.
Yeah, we didn't have King of the Tangents with us, so we had to just be. Yeah, the Queen and the Duke of the Tangents are here.
Oh, I'll take that. The Duke of the Tangent versus the King of the Tangent. Nice one. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in, for listening, for watching our weekly podcast show at the Weekend Catch-Up Club. That's it from us. We'll see you next week. There's going to be so much to talk about. I can't wait. But anyway, I hope you all had a wonderful Easter weekend by the time this one comes out. Take care, and bye-bye. Happy gaming.
Bye-bye.